How you guys doing? Great.
Talk a lot about the pass defense and the pass rush when it comes to your group. How have you felt like? How have you seen the work against the run get better as you've gotten closer to the opener?
Yeah, with our attack style defense, the way it's been trained and built over time, our techniques are effective versus the run and the pass. They're the same initial technique, same initial get off. So I think all of it's gotten better. Um, it's a different way of playing, and our guys are getting more comfortable with the stance and the get off and playing with their hands and keep their feet going and messing things up. I'm playing reckless and playing aggressive and competitive and nasty and tough, and they've gotten more comfortable with that and embraced it, and I'm proud of them for doing that. So I think, playing the run in this system sometimes is a little different than others. So the guys that are newer to the system and maybe less familiar, they've really embraced it, worked hard at it, and you know, um, I'm proud of them for that.
Seem to be flourishing in this new scheme or adapting to it or functioning?
Miles is doing great. I appreciate his work ethic and his professionalism every day. Um, he certainly makes me a better coach. He asks great questions and he challenges me in that way, and I'm grateful for that. When you have great players in your room that have experience and have played the game for a while, I like Sean Lee in Dallas when I was coaching linebackers that way, and certainly Miles fits in this category in terms of a guy that understands the game and asks great questions. He forces me to be on top of my game every day, and it's fortunate that that dynamic exists in our room. I think Coach Schwartz's system for the defensive line play, it makes a lot of sense to Miles, to how he sees the game, how he can affect the game, the angles in which he has to take, and his responsibilities against the run and against the pass. I think it fits naturally with his vision for himself. So it's been good so far.
Just like a huge season. He has a huge season every year, but I mean, do you see him really taking it to the next level in this scheme?
Yeah, I think this scheme gives him the ability to, affect the game. So I think a player like him, with his talent, with his instincts and feel, with his toughness, with his competitiveness, with his knowledge, I think they're going to get better. A guy like Miles year after year, just with more experience and more knowledge of the game.
You guys brought in Shelby. What does he add to that room? What kind of role do you see him playing for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Shelby's a guy that's played in the league for a while. Anytime you bring in a veteran, it's a great opportunity to add to, I think, just the knowledge of the room and the professionalism of the room. The interesting thing about Shelby is he had a really slow start to his career. I mean, he would admit that. It just took him a while to catch on and be on a roster, and then obviously he had a great run in Denver. So when you have a guy that's been through that in the NFL, been cut, bounced around, then established himself, got a second contract. That's it's a hard thing to do, right? Like it's really hard, and there's guys in our room that are working hard to do that, and he's done it. So I think that alone's like a great addition. Specifically on the field, the guy's a D tackle. We know that he's instinctive. He's got long arms. He's got good feet. He's got playmaking ability. He's got the ability to find the ball, to find the quarterback. So I'm excited to see him in the mix with the D tackles and contributing on all downs. Yep.
When you look at a guy like Za'Darius and his versatility, play inside and out, what does that allow you guys to do?
Well, allows us to be versatile. You can put guys in different spots when guys are able to play in different spots, right? And he can do that. He's been productive in his career, sacking the quarterback at the defensive end position and as an interior pass rusher. That's documented. That's obvious. He's done it for multiple teams. And, we're excited for him to keep doing that in our room. And again, like you get a guy like Za'Darius, and I think I've said this before. We first met when I worked him out when I was like the DN's coach in Dallas. When he was in the draft, I worked out him and Bud Dupree, and Za'Darius doesn't remember that, and I don't expect him to. But he was a 4th-round pick, which is a high pick, and he was East-West Shrine game and played well there, and guys who get drafted in the 4th round and come from his background, like the limited football he had in high school, being more of a basketball dude, like to where he is now, like that's unbelievable. Just the amount of production, the contracts he's done, the contracts he's earned. So you add a guy like that to the room again, like a vet who's done it, and he wasn't a 1st-round pick, but he's played like one, right? So I think if anybody said I got Za'Darius in the 1st round based on his production right now, you'd be pretty stoked. So when you have a guy that does that, that's great. It's great for me. Like you just have someone in the room that's been a pro, worked hard, is versatile, can learn multiple positions, can come in year one, learn multiple positions right away. It sets the tone for everybody else in the room. It's his birthday, by the way, today. So happy birthday. I love him, so I got to say that.
What kind of energy, laughter, leadership, does he bring to the room? I mean, like one day I saw him walking in on, cut down day, and he was like, walking in and yelling, Mom, I made it. I mean, like he just seems like he brings something like that.
He does. He's kind of like the old head in the room a little bit because he's been in the league for a while relative to some of the other guys. He's got this like focus and professionalism. He's like, Coach, hey, we got to go over that again. Coach, I want to see that again. And a lot of times he's the one playing multiple positions. So to his credit, he's like, hey, let's hit that again, Coach. And, all right, that's cool. Let's do it. So he has that seriousness and that professionalism about him. But at the same time, he's really funny. He tells good jokes. I mean, me and him, we've been having some pretty good banter out there at individual, which has been fun. When you have a guy that can keep it light, make it fun, bring energy, but then at the same time know when it's time to be a pro, time to really drill down to the details and make sure we're on the same page on things. When you have a guy that can do that, brings great energy, and it's fun and it's serious when it needs to be. And yeah, we're lucky that he's in this room.
Burrow, not just overall, but getting him, sacking him over his career. Is it as simple as saying Miles, or what do you attribute it to as you kind of reflect back on those games?
Well, I think, all 11 guys on the field have something to do with a sack, right? It's easy to say it's Miles, he won, right? He had a great rush. But Miles wins and no one else does well. The quarterback can step up, step away, and throw the ball. That's not going to be a sack, right? So, or maybe Miles wins, the quarterback has to step away from him, and then someone else wins half a second later, then they get the sack. So, first, it's about the group rush. We talk about that. We're a brotherhood in that room, and we got 4 guys on the field rushing, and it's 4 equals 1 together. There's 4 rushers and there's 6 lanes in the pass rush, 6 lanes around the protection. So we got to do a good job to alone, us 4 together, to sack the quarterback. Then after that, like the coverage has to be good too, right? Because if he could just throw it right now, right? So sacks generally come from all 11 guys doing their job, and we must have done that enough to get some sacks over the years.
With Joe coming off of this calf strain, is that, in your guys' thinking? I know you're planning to attack him anyways, but, do you really keep the heat on knowing that he's maybe not 100%?
We start with this. It's about us. It's about our effort, our toughness, our competitiveness, our ability to execute our techniques, our get off, our take off, our ability to pass rush to finish the down unblocked, our ability to run to whoever has the ball in their hand, whether it's a quarterback or running back. So that's the first thing. It's about us, and it's always going to be about us. After that, you do have to acknowledge that there is an opponent, and Joe Burrow's an excellent quarterback. We know that. Look, I don't think their organization or their training staff would put him out there if he weren't ready to play. So based on that, we know he's a talented quarterback. We know he can throw the ball accurately. We know he can make good decisions. We know he's got mobility in his game, can move around. So I assume we're going to get his best.
Miles will watch film of Orlando, right? But do you guys as a group, because he wasn't there last year with Cincinnati, like, do you guys watch either him by himself or the former Miles Orlando Brown matchups?
Yeah, we're going to study every lineman that we faced, regardless of where they were a year ago. So, yeah, we looked at, his old Kansas City tape.
Is it easy to kind of project how he fits in with the rest of the Bengals protection scheme and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you study the protection, I think you want to know schematically, how do they move the center? How does the center help? How do they handle different fronts? That's more of a scheme thing, okay, which is probably more particular to the head coach, the coordinator, the O-line coach, who are all great coaches. And then, the individual matchups, in terms of how certain O-linemen protect in their style, then that, that obviously would be more player specific, where you might have to find some tape from a previous year in a different uniform.
Really excited to get started because this group has worked so hard and has done such a good job in their preparation from when we started in the spring to this point. I can't say enough about how professional they've been in their overall preparation, their work ethic. I think they've all put the team first in everything that they've done. So I'm just really excited that they get the opportunity now to go out and play and show us the group that we have, which I think I'm very confident that this group is hopefully going to be very consistent and help our team win.
Just how good was it to get Marquise back on the practice field, and then what do you think he can add to this offense?
Yeah, Marquise is a veteran player that, it's been great to get him back on the field. He's done a tremendous job of putting himself in this position to be ready to play. And that's really a tribute to him and the people that have worked with him so closely in our organization to get him back on the field and just to make sure that he's in great condition and ready to go. He's got a very unique skill set. He's been a veteran player that has provided a lot of speed. He's an explosive type player. So it's been great to have him out there, and I really feel like, moving forward, he'll help our team just like the entire group's going to have the chance to help us.
Said, what's been the thing that's pleased you most about his progress from, when you first got him in rookie minicamp to now?
What's been most impressive about Cedric, and I've been most pleased about, is his, I think his ability to when he makes a mistake, to correct that mistake. He's not a repeat error guy, and oftentimes, we see players that are young, rookie players and young in their development, that repeat errors. And he has definitely, had some mistakes along the way, but he's corrected those things, and he has improved. That's the one thing that's been most impressive, is he's improved throughout the process. It's tough for these guys coming in. They have to learn a playbook. They have to learn how to be a professional. There's a lot going on for them in their transition of any rookie player. And Cedric's been one that has improved really daily, and that's been the most impressive thing about Ced.
With those lines, when we see him out there, and you guys coach him up hard, and he just seems like unfazed by it, and it rolls off his back. Just how important is that element, I guess, of his personality?
It's very important. We are hard on Cedric, and we need to be hard on him because, it's our goal to get the very best version of Cedric, and he knows that we're going to be hard on him to do so. And he's really taken coaching very well, and he's taken us getting on him very well, and he's taken that as constructive criticism, and he's been able to move on from his mistakes. But I've been very impressed with his overall mental toughness and his ability to overcome some adversity that I think all rookie players go through at some point or another. There's going to be some things along the way that are going to be bumps along the road, and he's been able to kind of push through that, and hopefully he'll be the player that we all think he can be.
I mean, he had that rib injury, and I know he had to kind of take it easy for a little while after that. Is he right back to, where he was before that? And how do you feel about everything he's been able to accomplish this camp?
Elijah's been a player that's, come new to us this season, and just been so impressed with him. The amount of things he can do for us. He's got a very versatile skill set. He's had a great week of practice, and so we're really excited to finally see him out on the field and do a lot of the things we think he can do. And I have a lot of confidence in him, and he's worked real hard in his preparation. I can't say enough about how professional he's been. He's been I would say, a great teammate.
You've coached some guys who kind of can touch the ball in different ways like him, over the course of your career.
Yeah.
What does that take for a guy to be able to do that stuff and be effective, kind of wearing multiple hats like that?
One of the things that guys that are versatile, it requires them to be is very aware of what's going on defensively and have a real good understanding of what we're doing offensively. It's one thing to have a physical skill set, say a versatile physical skill set, but along with that, the challenge is those guys also have to have enough mental and enough awareness of, again, what's going on the other side of the ball and what's going on and what we're trying to get accomplished on our side of the ball is as important as their physical skill set. And that's one thing I've been very impressed with Elijah is his ability to function mentally. We ask him to do a lot offensively, and he's really accepted the challenge, and he's done that with his preparation, and he's a smart guy.
Things you guys are asking him to do, in New York or even in college. So, how was that process of discovering, man, he can do this and he can do this and he can do this?
Yeah, the process of seeing what the guys do well is seeing if they do it on the field, and it really is. It's like we've tried different things with him since the spring, and if it's something he does well, we keep it in. And really, the thing about Elijah is he's made the most of those opportunities. There's been very few things we've asked him to do that we haven't come off the field and said, that looks good enough for us to move forward with. And that's, I always talk to the players about your role is truly what you make it, and your role will be dictated on what it looks like on the practice field when we come off. And if they can give ourselves, the coaching staff and the quarterback, confidence that that's going to be something that we'll have success on, then we're going to put it in the game plan. And Elijah's allowed us to do so many things with his versatile skill set.
How do you see the chemistry between that core and Deshaun grow from the beginning of preseason training camp to now?
The chemistry between the receivers and Deshaun is awesome. It's outstanding. And that has a lot to do with, obviously, it's a two-way street. And Deshaun's been so great to work with, and he's worked so closely with that group. And they've grown so much over the last year. And then, of course, in the spring, we acquired the new players we did, so he's had the exposure to those guys. But it's been really neat to see that group grow, improve, work so hard together. And I can't say enough about Deshaun's leadership as it relates to that group and how impressive that's been to watch.
I know they lost a couple of key guys, but they still have guys like Mike Hilton back and Taylor Britt and those. How would you describe that group as a whole?
This group from Cincinnati is outstanding. I mean, they play so well. They have such a great scheme. They're very sound in what they do. Very talented secondary. The one thing, if you look at it, there's a lot of speed in this secondary, to include the two new safeties that they'll have playing. So it's a very impressive group. I know that we know that this is a great challenge for us, and I think very highly of the secondary.
Were you happy to keep Austin Watkins in the building? And then also, I know kind of learning to be a pro was part of the process of him sticking in the league. What have you seen from him in that aspect too?
Yeah, very pleased that Austin's here working as a practice squad player with us. We take a lot of pride in this building in the development of our younger players, and we're taking a lot of pride in the development of Austin. And he's working very hard every day. We have a lot of people that work in our organization, that work in the development program, that do a great job of trying to get him to be the best player he can be. And Austin has taken advantage of that. He's a player that has been very professional. That's one of the things. He made plays for us in the preseason, but along the way, he was a great guy that was really taking coaching well, working very hard, and being a professional and being the type of player we want in the building. So that's all we ask of our practice squad guys, to work hard, to help this team win, and along the way, develop themselves into the very best version they can. And he's done that.
In terms of your wide receivers adjusting to the improvisational skills of Deshaun? I know that's something that you're really not going to know exactly how it's going to look until you get it out on the grass, but how do you feel like that's going to go? How are they adapting to him?
Yeah, I think the group has adapted very well to Deshaun and his skill set, and I think that's important to know that that's a work in progress. It's something that takes time, and nothing more important than our practice on the field to get that right, and then ultimately we need to transfer that to the game field. But Deshaun is so talented in so many things that he does that we need to understand the player he is and then obviously play to his skill set, which I think that there's better awareness than we've had as we sit right here of just how they can play off of each other and use their skill sets, best with the guys we got out there.